Hi there, and welcome back to our third episode from this new season of Beyond Tech Data Edition. I'm Patrícia, I'm a digital data analyst, and I'm going to be your new host of this season. On today's episode, we are going to be focused on the crucial aspects of data management, on driving organizational success. As we know, we live in an era that is dominated by the digital transformation, and in a single day, it can be generated terabytes of information worldwide. And due to this, us individuals, data professionals, industries, we need to adapt to it so we can have reliable sources to work with. So it's a priority that our industries actually prioritize the efforts to guarantee some data quality, assurance on the data, and security, so at the end we can rely on it to drive informed decision making that we can use to gain some competitive advantages in the industry. To join us today, we have an expert on this field. We are joined here with Fábio. He is one of the business analysts from our team. And thank you, Fábio, first of all, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And to share your insights about this topic with us. I know you are an expert on this. And let me start by asking you, so today we are going to talk about data governance, BI, and I would like to ask you, how would you describe your role to our non-technical colleagues? I imagine you need to do this quite often.
The hardest question.
And the contributions it can actually bring to the industry.
Yeah, so I'll sum it up because it's always hard to describe, but I always worked in big companies, highly corporate, and I came from a financial background in the past as well, and I basically try to have a common language within the company. There's data coming from everywhere, and I try to make sure that everyone is speaking the same language. I try to make sure that data is easily accessible, is visible, and anyone who can access the data, I try to ensure that it's a good experience, and I try to ensure that we are providing data with quality, data that is instantly provides instant results, let's say. It's difficult, but it's basically the importance of providing a common language on a big corporation, a big setup, which spans several teams.
All good. Before we move forward, Fábio, I actually will start by doing a small icebreaker with you. You still don't know this because the season is not yet live, but we decided to introduce some novelty in here, and to bring, before we start making some more serious questions, to do some more silly ones, let's say it this way, or random ones. So we created a new round, that it's an icebreaker called Think Fast, Answer Faster. And in the meanwhile, I will do some random questions, but nothing bad, don't worry. That I believe you can answer it. Some of them maybe you think I'm a bit crazy, but let's go through it and see what you think about them. So, my first question to you is, if you had to pick a language, a code language for the rest of your work life, which would it be?
Just one code
Just
language.
Just one.
I mean, Python, for sure.
Python?
Yes.
Not SQL?
No. Python. I've converted quite for a while now.
Damn.
And Python is easily the better one.
For the ones that don't know Fábio, some years ago he was basically the most fanboy for SQL.
I have now converted. I'm a Python worshipper.
All
yes.
good, all good. Fair enough. I can understand why. All good. Second question, do you have a favorite song or playlist for when you are doing more repetitive tasks like data cleaning?
I mean, I listen. Spotify is always running in the background. I have a curated playlist that I created myself, but I believe, let's say, the majority of my year, this year, I've been just listening to Wolfpack, that are coming this year to Portugal.
Okay.
Yes, great event. And yeah, it's basically Wolfpack on repeat right now.
Okay.
But next year it probably be something else.
Okay, I can understand that feeling. So next question, and most likely this is a common situation to you, that it's every Christmas we always have an aunt or a grandpa that it's from nowhere going to ask us, remind me again what you do for a living. So how would you describe to them what is your typical work day?
To tell them that I work with data mainly, so everything creates data, a sale, even a campaign, an ad creates data, so an ad attempts to sell something, so we want to know if it has some results on the data or on the product that we are selling, and I try to create insights from that data.
So now, Fábio, next question. Let's imagine an everyday task like cleaning the dishes. If you could turn an everyday task into a data set and create an algorithm to speed up the process, which one would it be and why?
Not sure. Vacuuming.
Okay, no, that one I can relate.
Yeah, but there's already automatic vacuuming.
Yeah, but still they don't work that well. So I can
but
maybe
vacuuming.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Yes.
We could create an algorithm to make it work well.
Yeah.
And at least to clean up the
stairs.
Yeah. Like it's terrible.
Maybe in a few years, maybe. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we get there. Maybe you have a patent idea here. So next question. What's the worst nightmare for a data governor?
I mean, one of them, right?
Yeah.
There are so many. So I believe the biggest struggles is when people don't want to comply. When people are not interested and they don't see the big picture, and when they don't want to be part of the process. So we need to show the value of data governance, of course. We need to show why we are creating more processes and why we are trying to gain value from whatever process they may have or whatever data they may have. But yes, if someone really says, okay, but I'm not interested, then this creates an issue on the corporation. This becomes an issue on this common language approach, and it's very hard to overcome. So ideally everyone is on board, and that's where we gain the value, when everyone is rowing in the same direction. Yeah,
I can imagine. Besides this, I would say maybe delete the table on prod by mistake, but it was a good answer.
The second best, yes.
So, and now my final question, and this is a personal theory that I'm actually exploring in this podcast. So Fábio, I have the theory that every single person that works with data has a favorite graphic.
Favorite graphic?
I want to know which is yours.
Favorite graphic? I mean, the obvious pie chart, right?
The pie chart, yes, it's cute, right?
Yes, I mean the value that you can derive from a pie chart. Let's go with pie chart.
Okay, a pie chart. I can imagine, it's the cutie one.
It's the cutie one, it's universally known, so yes.
Yeah, everyone loves the pie charts. All good. Thank you for the funny answers. Let's then move back to the more serious ones. And I have another question for you, Fábio, that it's, how would you like that data governance is perceived by others? Because for the non-experts, when they hear these words, they can imagine it's another set of standards, processes,
more
bureaucracies, and sometimes they don't quite understand what it's the end point. So how would you like it to be seen by these persons?
So
what you do.
Yeah, usually that's the biggest hurdle, as I mentioned previously, is that when we talk about data governance, people instantly assume more work, more process, more things, more process to comply, and that's exactly what we want to avoid, and we want to show the value underneath. Here we may be creating work on a singular team, but when everyone is working towards a common goal, we I think it's easy for all teams and all analysts, engineers, anyone working with data to understand, and users as well, to understand that this direction is where the value really is and where we should consider going towards. Yes, it's processes, sometimes it becomes really bureaucratic, but I believe that when well implemented, it's a no-brainer. So it's even highlighted, let's say, the awareness should be even higher in bigger corporations, where the data is everywhere, so many data sources, data is coming from all places, and yes, when on a bigger corporation, when this value is shown, I think it's night and day, yes.
Yeah, and it's visible to everyone that we get there. And do you still find, so throughout your professional life, that data governance is still an unknown topic, or is already gaining some, so people at least understand a bit of what it means, what they have to do, or do you still feel you need to pitch the value of data governance in nowadays?
Sometimes people refer to data governance as just compliance, security, and there's also that, but it's so much more. Here we really need to create awareness, but there's so much that now the new tools are implementing. There's so much more, in my opinion. Been working with data for, let's say, 10 years now. It's completely a different environment. It's data governance is in almost every single convention as well.
Yes.
Security is one of the issues, the topics raised there, but centralization of data, how to reach there. AI is also becoming a tool we can leverage now with that. But I believe maybe the latest 4 or 5 years, at least with the tools I am working with, that data governance is becoming more and more known, and I believe it's becoming more universal. Maybe in the past it was very specific to the tool,
yes,
how it was implemented, but with this democratization of data, everyone is using it. I believe the last years people are starting to understand that the value that data has, it's huge, and all these questions come up, and the explosion of data that we had now with social media as well. In the past decades, it's mind-blowing. So data governance is now essential for all these aspects. Whenever we have huge data sets, this has to be completely essential. Yes.
Oh, good. It's good to see that things are evolving, and because, as you were saying, without data governance, without proper processes, we are not sure if we are actually able to rely on the data. And for me as an analyst, I totally understand your point. If we wouldn't have someone like you and your team working with us,
and data,
which would be us.
Data may be hidden, data silos are happening everywhere, so users they don't really know if they even have the data. That's the issue. Data is everywhere, but if a corporation is not focusing on data governance, they may be only seeing a subset. So, for example, if we see a huge spike of sales, but we are not getting any campaign data for some reason, campaign data is not reaching the graphics or the data lake, then we have no way to relate that spike to anything, and we may even relate that spike to something that is completely nonsense. So that's completely fundamental to really have awareness of all the data that we have, and try to push for a central common ground. Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you, Fábio. So now we are reaching a part of our episode where we actually invite an additional guest to bring some another discussion points to this round. And for today's episode, we invited Anton Witt, is a data analyst from our Mercedes-Benz.io team. And we asked him to share a contribution surrounding this topic of data governance. And to share his point of view, we actually did a question to him that he explored, and afterwards, Fábio, we are going to discuss a bit surrounding what he said. And the question we did to Anton was, which are the challenges a company can face when implementing a data governance process, and which are the challenges when they actually don't do it? Anton explored this topic, and let's see the video.
There's a few very common challenges when it comes to implementing a data governance program. One of them is definitely the lack of clear accountability. So it's really hard to implement something if you don't really know who should take care of what, right? So one of the first things that you might want to do is defining clear roles and responsibilities. So for example, appointing data stewards for different areas. Another very common challenge is the reluctance to change, because some people are expected to change their workflows and there's a certain additional overhead layer coming on top and extra work associated with it. So it's really important to get people's buy-in and pointing out why are we doing things, and also how does it benefit them at the end of the day. And finally, data silos. I mean, data is stored in different places of the company. You want to bring everything together and centralize a lot of these things, and that also extends to the cultural aspect, right? So it's really about establishing a culture of collaboration and data sharing in order to be successful at the end of the day.
So thank you, Anton, for your collaboration on this topic, and I believe we can resume his collaboration in a couple of points. So he mentioned some of the challenges that can be faced, like having concrete processes. This is essential for it to work in the correct way, having transparency on the ownership, and having the data centralized on the same place and not divided by silos. Would you like to add any additional point in here, explore some of these points he just mentioned?
Yes, so these are clearly the hurdles that we encounter every single day. Data ownership is also one of them, because let's say you encounter data silos, data is not well governed there. It's clear that it's very hard to really understand what's underneath and how to make someone accountable for that data. Usually in order to fight that, we create data catalogs, glossaries, business glossaries, metric glossaries, KPI glossaries that try to create transparency and also awareness of who is really accountable for that domain. This is also later when everyone is accessing the data, not only the technical roles but also business or end users directly. It becomes much more clear that through these tools, also with data lineage, people are able to really understand where the data is coming from one data source, because on more robust, more mature data environments, data becomes so transformed that it may start to lose any characteristic that it had in the beginning. So data lineage processes are fundamental on understanding how that data was transformed from end to end and where that data really came from. Data silos are the bane of my existence. Yes, data is sometimes really well hidden, and on the, huge corporations, that those data silos really happen. It's and it's very hard to understand if there's any value on that data or not, and only by unmasking that data we are able to onboard it to our central data warehouse or central data setup, and show value to everyone. Because here, only by unmasking that, we are also able to benefit the team that had the data silos.
Yeah. So getting the business value from it and then understand.
Yeah, because these people that were responsible for the data silo, they also contribute from the sharing, because they may think, because they create their own world around it, that their definitions, their metrics were reliable when it was not in accordance with the rest of the company. So it's really fundamental that the data silos do not happen, because data may be the reports could be completely inaccurate, and if anyone is creating actions from that data, it harms the company at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. All good. I have a final question to you, Fábio, and it's more on a futuristic way. That it's, are there any emerging trends, innovations in data governance that you believe will have a significant impact in our organizations?
Yes. So the cliche one, right?
AI.
AI. But there's a lot of interesting things happening right now. So as I mentioned, data lineage, all the metadata underneath. So if an end user really wants to understand, okay, I want to report leads, where are the leads tables? Where are the sales tables? What is a lead? What is a sale? Because these definitions can wildly differ from team to team. So AI is currently, there are a lot of projects happening on all data tools, but I believe with the growth that we are having with AI, it's a matter of time until an end user can have a chatbot saying, okay, I need to report sales for the last quarter. Provide me that, even maybe in the future, and I believe there are already projects going on where the report, not only a message is outputted, but also a report already with that message. What I strongly believe is that without a clear, good foundation, this is completely worthless, because the AI or the model needs to know exactly what is a sale, what is a lead, what is a campaign, where did that data start. So a lot of interesting projects, and it's an explosion in the last years of the potential that this may have. But in terms of the job that we are doing, I believe the foundation still needs to be strong in order to achieve that. Yes.
It goes on the same direction of the topic we discussed in our first episodes, that we have AI, we have data. They can be, the two professionals can be connected, but at the end of the day, we need both, right? If we don't have a professional that knows the data to then feed the algorithm, we don't have a correct algorithm, and we are deriving incorrect results.
Because if we don't have a common language, AI will not have a common language.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. And thank you, Fábio. It was a very enlightening conversation. I learned a lot about data governance today, and I believe you learned too. If you have any additional comments surrounding what we just said, so if you have any additional challenge on this data governance process that we forgot, head on the chat. Me and Fábio will be very happy to see what you have to say to us and to engage in a conversation surrounding that topic. And once again, thank you, Fábio. Thank you all for listening to us, and see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.